Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the My Tribe podcast. This week we could not get a guest on. So you know what? When we don't get a guest, what we're going to do? We're going to do a solo podcast. We're going to take a thought of the week, and run with it. This is our first attempt at it. And let me know what you think. Dive in, and I'm really excited to hear some feedback on this. Thank you very much. What I want to talk to you guys about today is that gut feeling you get when you're listening to something inspirational. You know, when I go to the gym, I often like to listen to some kind of either a speech or maybe a motivational talk of some sorts, or some educational or a podcast. And as I'm at the gym working out, the endorphins are flowing, the dopamine is kicking, the brain juices are flowing. And a lot of times when I know I lived in New York, when some of those emotions and feelings would occur, I would start to feel very self-conscious. I would start to feel very guilty. I would start to feel very insecure about the action that I didn't take, the safety that I was living in, about the risks that I'd not taken. I mean, up until about 2-3 months ago, one of the feelings as I'm listening to podcasts, as I'm listening to inspirational speeches, one of them was, man, I should start a podcast. I don't know why, but something is intuitively telling me I should start a podcast. And I think that, that dopamine flowing and those endorphins thrown through your blood, I think that is really the essence of maybe when you're closest to your intuition. I think that's kind of where, when I'm pumped up and I'm feeling great and I'm sweating and I'm really getting into this workout and the flow of it, and time is just flying by, and I'm getting ideas for how to grow my business, how to do this, how to do that, and how to grow as a person. The podcast was a part of that. And, when I was at my strongest is when I wanted to do that. And then I wouldn't write it down, or maybe I would write down an idea or two. And then when it was time to take action on it, I was too afraid. And I was scared and just didn't want to do it. Or insecure. What would other people think? What would other people think? Is a very common thought process that I had. And I think doing the whole 30 to 30 journey, I was really able to unpack what would people think. I got to see what some people would think. And I didn't get to see what other people would think. And you know what? The people that told me what they thought was mostly positive. And it was pretty amazing to receive that feedback. And I can't thank you if you were one of those people who supported me and just had my back. I'm immensely grateful for them. And you know who you are. And even if you're not, I'm grateful for you too, because, it's the silent listeners. It's just the people that listen and don't like, whether they hate or not. I know that I'm affecting them in one way or another. But I'm getting a little sidetracked here from that gut feeling of doing something that I've always wanted to do. When you're feeling your best and intuition speaks and whispers an idea into your head, and you're, I can take care of that. I can do this. I can run a business. I can do all of that. And you're feeling that way when you're the strongest of your strongest. Then, boom, you come crashing down to earth. You eat some kind of sugar and you have that crash. That disconnect for me has been huge. I feel like there's so much potential left on the table in that disconnect. A disconnect of, well, let's do this. That right there, that split second of when you go, is what's holding me back from my potential. And even doing this right now, sitting in a room alone, my two kittens, Uno and Ocho, what's up, boys? And speaking into a microphone. This is something that I feared for the past, I don't know how long, maybe as long as I can think about it, doing something solo. Do I have the mind capacity, the brain capacity to keep myself going, to I don't know, to entertain not only other people, but mostly myself for an extended amount of time? I see somebody like Rob Dyrdek who does this, and he goes on rants, and he's going and he's talking and he's going down this road, he goes down another road, but it always comes back to center. It's pretty amazing. I mean, in the spirit of that, what I really want to get back to and cover is what is it that is nagging at you? What is that fear that is looking to be faced? What is it when you go on that run? I know I went on a run and I was in a relationship that just wasn't for me. And every time I would go on that run, that dopamine would kick in. My body, my brain, my heart, everything would say, get out of this relationship. Get out. What are you doing here? Get out of this relationship. And then I'd get home, I'd shower, and that rush would come down, and I'd fall back into that comfort zone of, this isn't too bad. I would start convincing myself otherwise, convincing myself the truth that isn't, essentially. Convincing myself these lies that I was living because I was afraid of the unknown. And that fear of the unknown kept me trapped for way too long. That's something that I'm very blessed to have broken away from. Something that I could sit here and say that I regret, but I don't regret it, because knowing the person that I became through that time, there are decisions that I made, there are lies that I've told that I can sit here and have regret about, but every single one of those decisions led me to the person I am today. And I wouldn't be here without those decisions, making them, whether they be good or bad. And why I'm so grateful for them is because I know, having gone through that extended amount of time in that relationship, having told those lies that I've felt so much pain for, I know that I will never make that decision again. I know that I learned my lesson. There was a friend of mine put up a post today. It said trust, and it was something about living life with an open heart, because if you trust everybody, you trust everything, then you're either going to have a friend for life or you're going to have a lesson for life. And I believe in that. I know that I trusted in the wrong process, if you will. The process that I was trying to control, and the outcome that I tried to manipulate, if you will. And in doing so, it obviously blew up in my face in a karmically beautiful way. And, this universe that we live in, it desires balance. And what you put out is what you're going to get. Put out good energy, you're going to get good energy. And I think that when I put out those lies, that's the same energy that I got back. When I stayed in something that wasn't for me, that's the same energy that I got back. It was a reaffirmation that it wasn't for me. When I look back and can say, oh, that was wasted time, one could look at that, but I'd rather look at it, give myself grace in the thought process of, well, that was an amazing time in my life. And although I feel like I wasted that time, it helped me to truly value my time now, value the relationships that I have now in my life, value the way and how and who I spend my time with now, as opposed to settling for comfort, settling because that's what I'm quote unquote supposed to do. That's where I should be at this point of my life. How often that comes in this, oh, you should be here. Yeah, I just turned 30. That was, why we did 30 to 30. It was kind of a big deal for me. And you know what? That was an unbelievable experience doing 30 to 30. I look back and I have no clue how I did it. I have no idea, but I couldn't be more proud of myself for doing it, because I did it. Like that was going back to, that was my intuition whispering to me, you won't. It was the angel on the shoulder saying, you won't. You won't go through with this. See, that was another idea. Like all of this crazy shit that I've done, these amazing, I call it crazy shit. Again, it discredits it. These are sharing vulnerable moments of my life. And yeah, I met somebody recently and I'm like, oh, do you have an Instagram? And I immediately regretted it because I'm like, oh no, I'm a full-blown psychopath on Instagram with Finish Out Friday and all of this craziness. But you know what? Like, at the rawest form, that's me. And if you're going to judge me for that, thank you. See you later. And I couldn't be more proud of the person that I am at this point in my life. Doing what I love to do, living where I want to live, and living the truest version of myself. And I really think that I needed to move away to find out who that is. And I'm still finding out who that is through these explorations, through these challenges, if you will, through these whispers of intuition that I'm choosing to accept. Because if I don't, that's not me being me. That's me robbing the world, robbing the universe of my potential. I was talking to a friend of mine who was just putting out some music. He was very nervous about putting out music and didn't really know how he should do it or if he should do it, if he was confident enough to do it. He was scared what people might think. And I told him, I said, dude, if you don't put out this music, you're doing the world a disservice. You owe it to the world to share your light. You were brought here to shine your light. And if you don't shine it as bright as you truly can, you're doing the world a disservice. You owe it to the world to shine your light. You were given these gifts to make music. You can make amazing music, but you're going to not release it because of what other people might think. I don't know where I read that or heard that, but to not give your gift is a disservice to the world. And that's kind of where I've come here. That's where this road has led me. In the sense of, when intuition whispers, when I'm feeling my strongest, when I've gone on that run and the endorphins are flowing and dopamine is kicking, and it tells me, all right, do a solo podcast. All right, do 30 to 30. All right, do X, Y, and Z. If I don't do X, Y, and Z, I feel like I would be doing a disservice. I'm not listening to my intuition. I have no idea where any of this will go, not go. At this point, when my intuition whispers, yes, sir. Tell me to quit my job? Yes, sir. Tell me to leave by November 22nd? Yes, sir. Excuse me, November 18th. If you tell me to leave by November 18th, yes, sir. Say less. And when my intuition told me to not take the secure job, yes, sir. I've come to the point where I want to listen blindly, know that it's going to be okay, trust that it's going to be okay. Take that leap of faith and know that I am divinely protected, divinely guided, knowing that all is working out for me. A lot of this is easier said than done, because obviously I'm going to be okay by putting this out there. But there is that insecure version of me that wonders, what would people think? What will they think? Who gives a shit? Not me. I think that's where I'm going to leave this. Who gives a shit? If you listen this far, just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you sincerely. I really appreciate it. And if you can like, subscribe, and follow me, Spotify, YouTube, all the platforms that I've been sharing this podcast, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And if this is something that resonated with you, feel free to share it with a friend, somebody who might agree, somebody who might disagree on following your intuition, on maybe Patrick lost his mind. Who knows? But you know what? Like, share, and support. That's what I would really, really appreciate. Thank you all very much. If you've listened this far, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Truly